ready to talk hockey. Streaming from the Oilers Live Studio. Subscribe or follow today.
Hey everybody, it's Michael here from Oilers Live. We've got we're going live because as some of you would know, or anybody that's going to watch this knows, we've got a special charity hockey game coming up at the end of February 29th. And so I've got Mike Draisaitl with me tonight, and we are going to do the draft for the Oilers Live Cup. And, if we've got enough time and we get a chance to chat, you get the still of Mike tonight because we can't get the video. I'm coming remote right now from Toronto. I'm tucked away in a small hotel, actually in Mississauga tonight. Welcome, Mike. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
And maybe what I will ask is anybody that is on Twitter and watching this right now, if you can kind of give us an update on how the audio is, if you can hear us all right. As I said, we are doing this, remote. And I've kind of pieced together whatever kind of microphones and such I had available to me, and so if you can hear Mike and you can hear me, then I think we're good to go. And for some reason I keep getting an error, Mike, on Periscope. Can you log into Periscope and see if that's working for you?
Yep.
I've got I can see it now, but it keeps giving me an error. All right. So, just to give you some background, February 29th, we are going to hit the ice at the Downtown Community Arena, which is Rogers Place. It's the practice ice for the Edmonton Oilers. And we're going to have some fun. So we're going to get out there, we're going to skate, and we're going to do it all for charity. And it is a game day. And that later that night, the Oilers are going to be playing the Winnipeg Jets. And so this will be the fourth game that I've been lucky enough to, thanks at Edmonton Oil Drop says audio seems fine. Awesome, thanks for that. So this is the fourth game. We've done two games, Oilers Live Cup games, Team Megathread versus Team Heavy Hockey, both for charity, both for autism. And then we did a third game for our friend Adam Zakuski, who at the time was suffering from cancer and unfortunately passed away this year, which, will be a big part of this game now. So we've chosen, going forward, we've chosen Heart and Stroke Foundation. We're pretty excited about that. And, I did a couple things, I think, right this time, which is, first I asked for help, and I've been just happy to say that I've got, the best committee in place to put this game together. Mike Draisaitl, who's on with me tonight, was a part of that. And I've got Jacqueline, Pam, Kim, Jeff, and Cheryl. And all of them together have been phenomenal in what we've been able to put together for this hockey game, which, the list of silent auction items and a number of different things that we're going to do. We've got lots of fun things planned. So I did a lofty goal with Heart and Stroke, which was I wanted to raise $10,000 for Heart and Stroke. And because this is our first time, that may or may not be an easy feat. But we're going to do our best, and we've certainly got that value in the gifts or the silent auction items. Hey, Mike, what are some of the auction items that we've got up for grabs?
There's quite a bit here. Just one second. There's a Carey Price jersey. Yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff. I'll just go backtrack here a bit, and I'll find it.
Yeah, so I some of it I know. We've got a Carey Price jersey. We've got was it Backstrom jersey from the Winter Classic that's signed.
Yes, I
Uh,
believe that is correct.
we've
Yeah,
got today. We've got a couple of things from. We've got tickets. We've got sweet tickets for that night, generously donated from Mike Shayer, I think is the last name. And sorry, Mike, if I'm getting that wrong. We've got an Oilers hockey stick that's signed by all the current Oilers and comes with a certificate of authenticity. We've got some sketches, a Gretzky sketch that was donated by Adam Zakuski, which would be quite special. We've got some Oilers tickets, game used Gagne stick, lots of neat art. We've got, if you were watching the game the other night, and there was a fellow, what's his name, Michael Nguyen. He had some watercolors, and he was doing one of the goalie fight. He's donated 3 prints, numbered prints from his collection. Keith Moore is donated some photos, and the list goes on. Gift cards, and Jake Crockett is also he's donated some stuff as well, and just amazing, everybody that's come together to put donations in place for this. Really excited and really happy to have all these people do this. So anyway, we are going to do the draft tonight, right, Mike? I think that's where we're at. All right, and this is. Basically, we're just going to go through. We'll start with the goalies, Mike, and then we're going to make the teams. There's 2 teams, of course, Team Megathread, Team Heavy Hockey, and then we'll let everybody know. And then exciting is that whoever raises the most money, and we're going to do a minimum $250 worth of money raised. I think, is that, you think, enough, Mike, or should we raise that?
No, I think that's okay.
Okay, so
Have a starting point.
yeah, so minimum $250 raised, and whoever can raise that amount will get 2 tickets to the game that night with food and drink included. So those are 2 tickets to the suite, food and drink included. And that's going to be for the game versus the Jets on the 29th of February. Really great year to be doing this because these games are actually mattering this year, so that's great. And then we've got at the game, if anybody goes to the game, we're going to have some other prizes and draws and raffles and that sort of thing. We've got a lot of people registered as spectators. If you want to go and you haven't registered and bought your after-party ticket, which is at the Canadian Brew House after the shinny game, or whatever you want to call it, charity game, you can go and buy that. That's $10, and that whole $10 is going to go to Heart and Stroke Foundation. You're going to get $7 back in a gift certificate that you can use at the Canadian Brew House. And just know that money is going straight to Heart and Stroke, so it's going to a good cause. And so far, we've actually we've raised. I think we're actually close to $1,000 raised, so we're 10% of the way there. All right, let's start this off here. We have got. Let's pick goalies first. We've got 2 goalies. We've got Kevin Lowry or James Harrington for goalie. Mike, I will give you the honor of picking first overall this year because, usually that goes to the lowest placed team, and so as Team Megathread is usually in that category, and the chirping starts, I will give you the honor of going first. Would you like Kevin Lowry or James Harrington in between the pipes for Team Megathread?
I'm gonna just shoot from the hip and go with Kevin Lowry.
I'm not going to give his full email out on the pod here, but I will say that his email is I like pancakes, which seems to be a great name for a goalie. I don't know. I mean, that seems like somebody who loves pancakes enough to put it as their email is likely going to cover a lot of real estate in net there. So I'm going to take James Harrington for Team Heavy Hockey. All right. So second overall, James Harrington, and the honor of first overall for the Oilers Live Cup this year. Playing for, by the way, we're going to have a trophy. And Mike went out and picked out a nice trophy. And that trophy is the Adam Sikuski Memorial Trophy. So we're happy to do that in honor and memory of a good friend who taught us a lot. Mike, third overall. Who would you like to pick?
Yeah, I have to take my man Ryan Bichkowski.
Ryan Bichkowski. All right. So that means that I have to take Ryan's brother Danny for Team Heavy Hockey at that's number 4. All right. Pick number 5.
I will take Ethan Bell.
Ethan Bell. All right. Now, you know Ethan.
I do.
Is he a good player?
He's all right.
He's all right. All right.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to take my friend, Mr. Eric Friesen, at 6th overall. I'm going to take him because he does the 99 Forever podcast, which you'll find right here on the Oilers Live channel. 7th overall, Mike.
Are you? Is the Friesen a package deal? So does that make your 6th and 7th pick?
Oh, well, you're making me take that right away, are you? Okay. All right. Okay. I'll take 2. So you got. I think you might. Yeah. You go. Go 8th.
Okay. I will. I'll take the Ridge brothers to even the score.
All right. The Ridge brothers. They're pretty good players, by the way. I remember them from last year. A little shout out to the Ridge brothers who are coming in from, well, I think Chris comes in from Victoria or Vancouver somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe it's Victoria.
Yeah, that's right on. And so this will be his second time at the game. I am going to take Cheryl's son, this Stuart child. I can't remember his name. Sorry, Cheryl. Oh, man. Now I feel bad. All right, but he'll be playing on Team Heavy Hockey. That's 9th overall.
Okay. I will take I'll take Jason Trottier.
Jason Trottier. Now, do you know Jason?
I've never met him in person, but I've talked to him a fair amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And let's see here. So we're kind of, in a lot of ways, we're just drafting blind because we've not seen a lot of these players before. But I do know Mr. Glenn Ma, who's a huge supporter of the pod, and will be coming in from Calgary for this game. So I'm going to take Glenn on the team.
Okay. I am going to select, I believe, Christine Skoreko.
All right. And she has the honor of being the only woman that registered to play, which was a great thing. I'm glad that she stepped up and did that. I know we've got to find her some equipment and the like, but we'll get a chance to do that. I'm going to take Jordan Peters then.
Okay.
I see Glenn's joined online. Glenn, by the way, I drafted you. You weren't first overall, but I drafted you, I don't know, 10th or 11th. You weren't last. And if you are last after the draft today, don't take it seriously because seriously, we probably just don't know who you are until you get out on the ice. And hopefully we're pleasantly surprised. One of those late round surprises. Okay, you're up, Mike.
I'm going to take a utility player, and that would be my son.
All right. Is he good at doing dishes?
Not really.
All right. I will take. You know what? I like Jay. He's a good guy. I'm going to take Jay Crockett. And he gave us a donation. Good man. I'm going to take Jay.
I am going to take Thomas Perry.
Thomas Perry. All right. I will take Sean Billick.
I'm going to go to Dean Rosgo.
All right. Sorry about your luck, Dean. I will take... poor guy. You know what? I feel for these guys. You know, they're getting drafted by Megathread. I really do. The chirping starts. All right. I'm going to take Seth Chartrand.
All right. And I will go to Curtis Liu.
Curtis Liu. Okay, so Curtis, there are 4 people that Curtis registered. I think we're going to split them up. So... Okay. How about you take? We'll give you 2 of them, and then I will take 2. Okay. All right, and then you get to choose again.
I need a draft board, Mike.
Well, you've got Kyle Gagnon, Nick Adcock, Jacqueline. She registered somebody. I'm not sure who, but we'll draft Jacqueline. Ryan Lotsberg, Corey Weeprick, hopefully I got the name right, and Ali Verani.
This gets hard because you don't know what you're getting, but I will take Corey Weeprick.
All right. Okay. And Corey, let me mark that down. I'll take Ali Verani. So we've got Ryan Lotsberg, Jacqueline, or whoever she registered as a proxy for, Kyle, and Nick.
I will go with Kyle Gagnon.
Gagnon. All right. You got the French connection going on there. All right. Oh, no, I've got Chartrand. Yeah. Okay, I'll take Nick Adcock for Team Heavy Hockey. You're welcome, Nick. I saved you from a world of hurt on Megathread. So we've got Jacqueline left and Ryan Lotsberg.
I will take Ryan Lotsberg.
All right. Now, I know whoever Jacqueline registered for has got to be a ringer.
There you go.
So that is it. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to email out everybody and the teams that they had. And Glenn, I saw that you had asked where you were coming from there. You're on Team Heavy Hockey, so that's all good. And we've got everybody. Let me just make sure that we've got the right. I'm going to sort this list now, and we're going to make sure that we've got everybody. Sort by team. Okay, so I should have because there was should be 16 aside, right? And we have 16 aside, so we didn't mess up anywhere. So I'll just go over the names. On Team Heavy Hockey, we've got James Harrington in net. We've got Glenn Ma, Seth Chartrand, Cheryl's son, the Stewart, Curtis Liu, 2 registrants under Curtis Liu, Nick Adcock, whoever Jacqueline Reynolds registered for, myself, of course, Danny Bichkowski, Jay Crockett, Jordan Peters, Sean Billick, Eric Friesen and friend, and then Ali Verani. For Team Megathread, we've got Kevin Lowry, Kyle in net, Kevin Lowry in net, Kyle Gagnon, Curtis Liu, times 2, the Ridge Brothers, times 2, you, of course, Mike, and your son Noah, Ryan Lotsberg, Ryan Bichkowski, Jason Trotche, Thomas Perry, Dean Rosgo, Christine Skoreko, Corey Weepruck, and Ethan Bell. And so those are your teams for the. This is rather. Are you online, Mike? Are you watching our stream live right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep smiling at me, and it's freaking me out. It is. What? Oh, I didn't even put that together. That's Ryan Lotsberg. That's oh man. All right, I know who that is. I don't even know why I didn't put that together, but you got a guest on the Heavy Hockey podcast who's already saying you're not going to regret that last pick. But he might, on the other hand, regret the pick, but you probably won't.
Deep in the draft. Yeah.
Deep in the draft. One of those late draft surprises. So those are our teams. I'm going to email you. I'm going to set everybody up on the Heart and Stroke site that we have for the fundraiser, and whoever can raise the most in the next couple of weeks with a minimum $250 worth of donations, we'll get the tickets for the 2 tickets for the suite. And that includes food and drink. It should be a lot of fun. So let's, I've got about 25 minutes. And then I am, Glenn says you look like you're in shock, Mike. This is what happens when you're remote and you gotta. I couldn't get Mike's video on air, so I had to take a screenshot. I asked him to pose, and I took the best possible one. We've got about 25 minutes. Let's talk some hockey. So, Mike, did you watch the scoreboard tonight?
I see the Flames beat up on the Sharks.
Yeah, they had about. By the way, I watched the whole game, or I had it on while I was doing some work. And they had, 15 to 20 power plays. Some were good calls, some were bad. There was a time it was 3-0 at one point for the Flames out of the 10 minutes in, and then the Sharks came back, made it 3-2. Then it ended up about 5-2. And then finished off 6-2. So the Sharks came back. They clawed their way back, and then they just couldn't. Evander Kane heavily involved. Kachuk doing his usual. As Eric Francis would say, he's drawing penalties. I think he's swindling his way into power plays. Not a great, not good news for the Oilers. It would have been nice to see. See the Sharks win, and then of course Vancouver and Nashville. No, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that one, because Nashville is sort of coming up strong at the end of this here at the end of the season. So I would like to see a little bit more separation between the Oilers and some of these potential wild card teams like Nashville, Chicago. Winnipeg even. Arizona even won. They scored in the final minute of their game to win tonight, so it wasn't great. Tell me, what do you think about Darnell Nurse's contract?
Well, I think that beats the 7 or 8 million that was the pie in the sky kind of talk. But I don't think he was gonna actually get that from Edmonton right now. But yeah, no, I'm okay with that. Gives it. I like Nurse. It's no secret. I think it's nice to have a player that can do um, some of the heavy lifting in terms of physicality on the back end. I mean, Adam Larson sort of sometimes has that in his game, but Nurse is athletic. He can fly down the ice. Just wish he would learn to make some smarter decisions when it comes to passing. But yeah, no, I'm cool with that. That gives him 2 years and some time to figure out some other things, and if he proves that he's worth more, then they can go that route, and if not, they can try to offer him a similar contract going forward in 2 years, or trade him or whatever. It just I like that move.
Yeah, okay. I like it too. I'm actually kind of happy they went for 2 years instead of the 4 years that they were talking, and I'm certainly happy they didn't go 8, right, or 8 million rather, which
Yeah.
a lot of people just flat out said, well, it was good knowing you. Definitely, I think that the market could have said he was worth 8, given what kind of upside he had, and but I just don't think he's worth it, at least for this club, and with some of the prospects that we have in play, and I think Ethan Bear certainly probably changed Nurse's value for the team. Jones has been playing well when he's come up. He's been solid on that last pair, and Benning, who years past I've just kind of written off for the most part, has put together a solid season when he's been healthy. So I think it kind of makes 2 years on a Nurse salary. I think it makes it. I think it gives you the play of those guys gives you some options. Of course, we've still got Bouchard. And have you had a chance this year to watch any of the Condors games? I've watched a few. Just curious if you've.
Just bits and pieces. No.
Okay.
That's all I've seen.
Yeah. Okay, and then before we got on air, we were talking a little bit. Of course, I'm certain everybody heard, but Connor, bruised his knee. You think he's going to be back?
Yeah, I think he'll play tomorrow.
He'll play tomorrow. I'm actually not 100% sure. I hate to read in too much into watching about 5 seconds of video, which Rashog posted online, and everybody had their own little bit, but. It wasn't like, you kind of do that little skate to test it out. And I think if you're ready, you're going to go for, a quick little bolt. I don't think he did that, but we didn't see any more of the practice. At least I didn't see any more video of the practice. So, if that's it, if that little skate was kind of it, I know they were doing some power play time today is what I heard. But if that little skate's it, I think he'll probably sit one out. I think tomorrow would be as good a day as any, although it'd be nice to put some, talking about separation between us and those potential wild card spots, put some separation between us and Chicago would be great.
I'll say this to you, Mike. If he's out tomorrow, I think it's more than a bruised knee, and we're getting a bit of the runaround again. I don't see a bruised knee keeping him out, and kind of what I heard today is that he did some power play drills, was on the ice for about 15 minutes, and then went to get kind of treatment on it. And yeah.
Yeah, I hate to speculate on those things. Like when, not that I'm anywhere near McDavid's caliber, but I've been bruised up once or twice in my life and taken a night off. And Glenn at Glenn Ma on Twitter. For those that don't follow him, give him a follow. He says, I think they said he was on the ice for about 20 minutes doing the power play drills. So that's good. We're going to see what comes of that. I mean, we'll know soon enough. I hate to speculate on these things, right? It's so hard to tell from the little bits and pieces that we get, and we hope that, the Rishogs and the guys that are watching the practices are able to kind of give us some kind of inkling of knowledge of what they think. But McDavid didn't seem upset when they did the interview, and I would, but it's so hard to read that guy, right? Like he can hide every emotion. I mean, we didn't even know, how bad his original injury was. So it's hard to. I wouldn't read too much into that either. Thoughts on the game tomorrow?
Yeah, it'd be nice to keep, get on another little streak here. You drop 2, you win 1. You gotta keep pulling pulling forward. I think I saw a stat where if they go, 14, 10, and 3 the rest of the way, they're 100% making the playoffs. So claw towards those 14 wins that you need to get.
Yeah, I mean, that's that's 28 points, 31 points, I guess, and they're at, 57 right now, is it? Or no, they're at 64. So 31 points would put them at 95. Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty reasonable. I've heard anywhere from 92 to about 95 is the expectation for the playoffs this year, so that sounds about right. I think as I said, these conference games become all that much more important going into this final stretch. I had taken Chicago as a playoff team right out of the gates this year, on the strength of having Crawford and Lehner as the goaltending tandem. I think that and then the rise of Kubalik on that team has just been outstanding. That kid has been doing amazing things. I really thought that we would see. I thought that we would see a resurgence of Kane and Taves a little bit, and expected them to really do some magic this year. So I'm a little bit more surprised that they're not further ahead, but I'm not surprised that they've been on a little bit of a run lately. They're 6-2-2 in their last 10, but they've lost 3 in a row now. I think that I still think they're a team that's if I was to kind of take one of those bubble teams, and mind you, if I'm looking at the standings right now, Chicago's 5 points out of the spot. I would still, that'd be who I would think out of all of those teams would come in. What about Arizona? I mean, what's the deal there? Do you think Taylor Hall is to blame for any of that?
I mean, Darcy Kemper, their goalie, went down too, right? So
yeah, and he's back. Was he back tonight or?
No, he got hurt in practice today. I think he took a skate or something to the leg, like just bad luck. Like he was in practice, and I think he was supposed to be the starter, and then had like an injury in practice. So I don't know how long he's going to be out for. Maybe it's just laceration, so a few days or something. But
yeah, I didn't hear that at all. I knew that he was coming back. This to me sort of highlights something that we don't give the Oilers enough credit for. We've got 2 goalies that I don't think would be leading many teams to the playoffs, but we're doing well. There's been a couple of surprises for this team this year, and I don't think we've been getting exceptional goaltending, but I think that we've been really doing well in terms of performing where we need to. Defense have done reasonably well, and as well, I mean, we're getting the offense when we need them. What I have liked about Smith this year, which I think goes a long way, is and something we haven't had in a couple of years, is just he's making the saves when you most need him to make the saves. And, like sometimes, I'm kind of the feeling you could win every game 6-5, and I'd be happy with that. I mean, in fact, that's what the Oilers did in the 80s, right? Like they'd win, 7-5, 7-6. And you could still call it a great goaltending performance because the goalie holds off that, sixth goal, makes the stellar glove hand when he needs to. I've been really big and happy on Smith coming to, just being there when we need him to be there. And I wouldn't say, and I'm not trying to discount Koskinen because he's been way better than I would have expected this year. And but I do like Smith for that purpose. Like they call the Rittich Big Save Dave. I mean, Smith is very similar in that regard. He makes the saves when you need him to. Thoughts on that?
What you take the good with the bad with Mike Smith. He's he can turn a blowout into a close game with being adventurous. But when he's on, I mean, in a lot of games he'll give up one and then he just gets into a zone and he locks it down. He's good that way. And when it comes to Mikko, I think there's last year there was one thing that everybody highlighted. It was the glove hand, and I think he's really done a lot to improve that. I wouldn't say he's got it totally figured out, but it's a lot better than it was last year.
Yeah. No, I mean, we haven't seen a goal on that glove hand in a little while, have we? I can't recall seeing one in a while.
No,
I mean that was a regular every goal sort of scenario.
The only goal that he let in, I think it was against San Jose, that I really didn't like was the one wraparound where he was sort of down in the butterfly, and you go down in the butterfly and the play starting behind the net screens you from being able to see where the puck is, and he sort of got lost on that play, but that happens.
Yeah, and that, that's the thing that and somebody mentioned it the other day, which is that Nashville game. Last year, I'm not sure the Oilers would have won that game, right? I think it was. Oh man, now I kind of feel. I think it was Drew. I think Drew Remenda said it last year. Okay, and now I'm on record as having agreed with Remenda. But I think Remenda said that last year the Oilers would not have won that game against Nashville. And, I think there's some truth to that. I think this is we're seeing a bit different of a team this year. They're doing some things that they haven't done in previous years. And they're eking out some of these games that, they really should be eking out. And while we still see remnants, I think, that game against San Jose would have been nice to win. But let's be honest. Boston lost to Detroit, right? Boston's lost twice to Detroit this year. And I'm not 100% sure what Detroit's record is, but that might be the only two games they've won. No, they've won 14. But Boston's lost twice to Detroit. And I don't think Boston fans are, falling off a cliff yet. So, good teams lose to bad teams. It's a competitive league, and it's good to have the Oilers come out and win a couple. Quick question, and then we're going to call it a night. Your thoughts? Do you think Draisaitl can hold off McDavid for the end of the year on the scoring race? And do you think he will?
And win the Hart?
Yeah.
In a word, no.
No?
No. I think right now Leon's better suited to get a little bit of a run on Connor, just because I think he's got some better line mates than what's been getting doled out with Connor. But Yeah, no, I still think Connor's the best player in the game, and he'll make a charge. And yeah,
Yeah,
I think neck and neck though.
I would not, even if Draisaitl wins the scoring race this year. I don't think that would change my opinion of whether or not McDavid's the best player in the league or not. In fact, I think Draisaitl could win the scoring race and McDavid could still win the Hart. I think actually this year, and given just to your point, the line mates that Draisaitl has, and they're just perfectly suited to his style of game. Like Yamamoto, who if you go back a couple of podcasts when I had the Oil Night on, I honestly at the time I didn't think, and I'd been watching Condor's games and I watched him this year. I didn't think he'd ever even set foot in the Oilers dressing room again. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. I thought that he would, and I thought maybe he'd play a game, but I didn't think it was going to be beyond that. And I'm happy to be wrong about that sort of thing. And the guy he's just relentless on the puck, right? And he's created more turnovers in the zone, I think, than any Oiler has in the last little while. And he's been, he's the kind of player, he doesn't. When he's with Draisaitl, right, and the play doesn't die on either Yamamoto's stick or Nugent Hopkins' stick. They're able to make some plays. Draisaitl, who I think is just an amazing. He's got amazing hockey sense out there, and just elevates that line to a point that we haven't seen in a while. And then McDavid is, he's just a different player, right? Like he's that player that, he's stayed pace with Draisaitl with, half of the talent, right? And and so, even if Draisaitl wins the scoring race, there's no doubt in my mind. If you don't think McDavid's the best player in the league today, it's only because you haven't watched him. And I watch a lot of hockey, as do you, I'm sure. And I've watched, that's. I always hesitate to say stuff like that because, there's a lot of great players. I'm not even going to hesitate to say that McKinnon's very, very close in that regard. But I just think McDavid is just a cut above, right? And Crosby, of course, you can't take anything away from him. In fact, I wouldn't even argue with you if you said Crosby was still the best player in the game, just because he's on a whole other level, and they play, him and McDavid play two very different games. But so I actually I'd be more inclined to say Draisaitl will win the scoring race, and but McDavid the Hart is kind of how I'd look at it. Before we go, quickly, what's your thoughts on the game tomorrow? Who do you think is going to come out of this one? Do you think the Oilers are set to do that? And do we know who's starting tomorrow? My guess would be Smith, but we'll see.
Yeah, I would go back to Smith if I was Tippett, but I'm not sure what he's got in his brain for that one. No, yeah. I don't know. I think. I think they're gonna win another hockey game and get on a little streak here.
Yeah. So what I would like from tomorrow's game, and I feel confident they're gonna pull one out. But I would like to see them play a complete game where they're actually the better team. I think Nashville was the better team in the game prior, and we kind of eked that one out. I mean, you can argue that if you want, but I think they were the better team. Nashville's not a bad team by any stretch. They certainly should be in there in the running for a playoff spot. But I'm hoping tomorrow that the Oilers get some of that magic that they had in January and get rid of the December stuff that they had going on for a while. January was great. I thought they were going to run away with the division the way they played for a little while there. of course, Vancouver was playing just as well, so it was hard for them to create some separation. But I think if they win tomorrow, or I think with the win tonight, Vancouver's back up to 3 points ahead. Yeah, but we've got 2 games on Vancouver, so if we can go on a little bit of a streak, we can get full hold of that lead position in the Pacific, which we haven't had for a little while. But I'm not going to count on that just yet. We'll get there. Any last words, Mike?
You know what's amazing is you'd think somebody like Cassian would be the best forechecker on the team, but it is Yamamoto, and he's the smallest guy.
Yeah. Yeah, the other guy that and I think that they get, I shouldn't say that, but I think the guys that we forget about that have really changed the makeup of this team now that we're talking checkers, Sheahan and Archibald, right? Remember a couple of years ago where it felt like every penalty kill was a guaranteed goal for the other team?
Yeah.
We were analyzing, like the style of penalty kill to see if there was a challenge in what they were doing. I remember Kelly from Beer League Heroes. He, found what the name was. It was called the check press, which is very similar to what they're doing today, how they're lined up. But we just didn't have the personnel to kill a penalty. And Sheahan and Archibald have come in. And we can, you can always count on Draisaitl. The guy's hand-to-eye coordination is another level. Like, you could, do a 100-mile-per-hour slap shot in Draisaitl, in front of Draisaitl, and 2 feet in front of him, and I'd still give him a shot at knocking that down, right? So he's good in that regard, and Nuge has always been good, but Sheahan and Archibald have really made a difference on that PK.
You know what it is, Mike? Those 2 guys, a lot of players, when they get the puck in a shorthanded situation, want to skate down the ice and do something fancy and try to get a shot on goal and score a shorthanded goal. Those guys, they really don't care. They're really committed to actually killing the penalty. So when they get the puck on their stick, they just try to fire it down. If they see an opportunity, they'll take it, but they are so committed to just kill it off and do their job. It's like Bill Belichick, do your job. Like, they're really committed to doing it.
Yeah, they are, right? And the other thing is Sheahan is and this is what brought it to mind, is he's one of the best puck retrieval guys that we've seen in a long time. Like, when he goes in to get the puck, there's nothing, no soft hands, no anything. He wants that puck and he goes and he gets it, right? And he cuts down a lot of. He's half decent on the face off, and then puck retrieval. He's exceptional. He's really good. And Archibald. I was at the Philly game when Connor had 6 points. 5 or 6 points, I can't remember now. And I was sitting down near the glass at that game, and Archibald came in and nailed one of the Philly players, and I can't remember who it was from Philly, but it was about a foot and a half bigger than Archibald and probably about 40 pounds heavier, and Archibald just leveled him on the glass, and I've been a fan ever since. And you just watch that guy. He plays like he's 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as much as I would, I love to make fun of the Flames, if I'm a Flames fan, that's the one thing I hate about watching Gaudreau, right? I could make a video montage of all the times where he, does the beer league stick check in the corner and won't get in there to pick out a puck, right? But then you got guys like Yamamoto, who I think is smaller than Goudreau, and then Archibald. And these guys just play like on another level. Like they're, as I said, like they're 10 feet tall. And so we've got a couple of those gritty players, which we haven't had in a while. The kind of player that we thought maybe like a Jujar would be, and it just hasn't fully panned out yet, right? Like, yeah. Now you're keeping me up late here. Quickly, anything? Do you think Holland's got a move slated for the deadline? Do you have any money on anybody? Who would you pick?
Yeah. Well, there's all that buzz about a third line center or, somebody like Tyler Toffoli or whatever. If you can get somebody like Pajot, that would be good. But I just don't think that they're gonna swing a major deal where you're losing a bunch of picks and whatever. I just see something peripheral that a little bit of tinkering. I don't think we're going to see a huge blockbuster at the deadline for sure.
Good or bad in your opinion?
Well, lots of people are going to say you only have so much time with Connor and Leon and that, but I don't know, if you're cutting off your right leg to propel things a little bit forward and then it blows up in your face, sort of like the Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't think it's worth it.
Well, yeah, you could argue both ways with Columbus, right? They did take out Tampa Bay in 4, but then the following season now, and they weren't, they were making a comeback. That's a tough. Seth Jones going down and now getting injured. And likely having surgery. I think was the last word I heard. He's going to be out for a month or so. So I don't know that Columbus, it blew up on them. They had a nice little run, and they were competitive in the playoffs. They just didn't keep the team together.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like they went all in last year.
Yeah. My thought is we're going to get somebody. And, if I had to guess, I kind of feel like it might be Pajot. But I don't know for what. And this will be, I've been, I don't know if that puts me in the majority or the minority, but I've been pretty happy with the way Holland has run the team so far. I don't think he's certainly got a bit of a different style than Chiarelli. He's not made any moves just to make moves yet. He's held off. He's been patient. I think, it showed some patience even with the Darnell Nurse signing, right?
Right.
And, and the guys that he's brought in have, I think, exceeded expectations. And, he's been able to make the right moves to kind of get a team that went from not being a contender that everybody had even at the beginning of the year of not, even competing for a playoff spot. Would be, I don't know many people that thought they would be in this position by this time of year. So, he's done his job. Now, the next question is, I always wonder what this, do you start to feel the pressure that you're here? Do you need to make a run for it? I just can't, I don't want them to give up, like a first-round pick. And that might be what he's waiting for, is to see how close to the deadline we can get and how much separation we can get, right? And I think maybe that pick could be in play if, and only if, it looks like a sure thing coming into the deadline. So that's kind of my thought. We might not see, any type of a trade until 1 or 2 days in, or close to the deadline. So a couple, I guess 2 more weeks, right? 26th is the deadline this year, so 2 more weeks. I would guess we might wait till the 12th. If we do see a move before that time, then I think that's the only move we see. But that's kind of just my thought on it. Anyway, Mike, thanks for joining me tonight. Again, for those that are still listening on the different platforms tonight, Oilers Live Cup is February 29th. You can go to bit.ly/Oilers Live Cup to buy your after party tickets. This is going to be a really fun game for us, I think. Mike, I'm super excited this year. You guys have done a good job in doing some organizing, and it is Glenn Ma, by the way, says Thomas Tatar. I totally forgot about Tatar. I think he's a good possibility. But back to the Oilers Live Cup. It is going to be an outstanding and fun time. We're going to have some spectator events if you come down and watch the game, and then at the after party, it's going to be a lot of fun. If you're not going to the Jets game, I'm sure a lot of people will be staying behind at the after party to watch the game at the Canadian Brew House. As I said, if you buy after party tickets, that full $10 is going to go straight to Heart and Stroke Foundation. We're trying to make $10,000. My father passed away from heart disease, so it is quite meaningful to me. I think it's worthwhile checking out the Heart and Stroke Foundation online and see where that money goes, and just understand what the challenges are. Heart disease is a pretty serious thing, and I know that foundation does a lot of work, and I think it's one of those. It's not quite as popular as some of the other charities that are out there today, but I think that it's really important that it's important that it's something we do, and they've been really helpful in getting this done, and I am also just unbelievably amazed at all of the people that have been donating, right? And still there's stuff being donated for the silent auction. If you've got, if you like memorabilia, signed stuff, anything like that, anything you got your eye on, Mike?
Well, some of those jerseys are pretty nice. And then they're Sean with the beer making kit, and yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. The other thing I forgot to say is I've got a Sheldon Surrey signed jersey, so I'm going to put that in there as well. Donate that to the cause. So there's a number of signed jerseys. There's the signed stick by the Oilers, which will have Connor McDavid's signature on it. That's going to be really cool, and it comes with a letter of authenticity. So lots of fun stuff. Starting next week, I think. I got to look at my schedule, but I'm going to start doing regular guests again with the Oilers Live, and start up on Wednesdays, no matter what. And so it would be, likely we'll do possibly do a live stream, but then if it's a game night, we'll just wait till after the game before we go live. So Mike, I'll get you on for a couple of those, and I'll probably have some other guests as well. If you go to the channel, take a listen to Eric Friesen. Mike, have you had a chance to listen to any of Eric's podcasts?
Yeah, I've caught a couple of Eric's for sure.
And that's the 99 Forever podcast. It's right on the same channel, so you can subscribe. You get that. He does a good job, and he's had some really great guests and a lot of fun. So anyway, do all of that. Come out and support the game. Have some fun. We're all volunteers. We do the podcast as a volunteer thing, really, because I'm not out here to make any money at this podcast. I'm just out to have a little bit of fun and enjoy the game and be involved and all those fun things. I think that's it. I always talk way more than I want to. I'm about 15 minutes longer than I should, and I've got to wake up in about 4 hours. Anything, Mike?
No, let's go Oilers go tomorrow, and look forward to seeing you in 2.5 weeks here, Michael.
Yep, you bet. Awesome. All right, have a great night. See you, everybody.